So last week I had a terrible spell of poison ivy. At one point during the week, I actually thought that I was going to have to go to the hospital. And it's prompted. This is the second video it's prompted. So I guess there are good things out of it. But the one I wanted to make today is a little bit different. With it getting as bad as it did, I did end up having to take some steroids to get through it. And I don't know if you've ever had experience with steroids, but anytime I'm on steroids, I struggle to sleep. And I know that there are a lot of other people that struggle to sleep as well, and that's really what we're going to focus on today. Is I talk about melatonin, and I did not take melatonin through this. It's something I've never taken. I have had a lot of struggles with sleep throughout my life, and melatonin is not ever something that I've used. And there are reasons that we're going to get into on this. Does that mean that it's not a right fit for you? Absolutely not. But there are reasons that it wasn't the right fit for me. So with melatonin, there are a lot of people that are using it now. It's something that has become much more popular as a sleep remedy or a sleep aid. A lot of people don't want to be on the sleep medications because they leave them feeling kind of hungover or groggy the next day. And I mean, I understand that. That's definitely something that is concerning and something that, I mean, it's a drawback, right? If you can't wake up in the morning, you're going to struggle at work. If you struggle at work, what are the other host of things that does to your health and your lifestyle and everything like that? So I get it. Melatonin can also leave you feeling like that in some people, just depending on the case. But there are good things about melatonin, and the times that melatonin are good, if you're going to use it for a short period of time, it's probably not going to hurt you. That's the gist of it. If you're going to use it for a short period of time, it's probably not going to be a bad thing no matter what. The areas where it does show a decent bit more benefit is melatonin can really help with your insulin sensitivity. And so if you have blood sugar issues and you have sleep difficulties, it may be a good fit for you. That's something that we should sit down and have a little more in-depth conversation on. But it does help with blood sugar control. And why does this occur? The blood sugar and the circadian rhythms, the day-to-day rhythms, the up and down, are very closely tied together. And there have been a lot of studies that come out over the last, just over the last decade or so here that have shown, that sleep disturbance does throw this off. And the hours that are most important, according to the last couple years of research, are between 4 and 6 a.m. If you're not getting enough sleep between 4 and 6 a.m., it really throws off your blood sugar levels. Now, this becomes a big concern for those who are working in factory jobs that are getting up super early in the morning, or those that are working overnight shifts. And that's where most of these studies focus their target population on, is those that are working those early morning hours and they're not in bed, like the body would be expected to be at that time. Our body is naturally expected to be sleeping at night. With that, melatonin can't help with that. There are other neurodevelopmental disorders, ADHD, autism, OCD, things like that can be associated with sleep disturbance, autoimmunity. If you are struggling with that, sometimes the melatonin can be a good fit as well. And there are multiple different aspects to this, but yeah, again, it helps with the metabolism. It helps with your blood sugar regulation. And a lot of those people are struggling with their blood sugar regulation, whether it be in autism or autoimmunity or ADHD. They're very, very frequently caused, or not caused, but they're very, very frequently associated with blood sugar dysregulation. Now, the thing that I really don't like about melatonin, we'll move over to the negative side of things. The thing that I do not like about them is melatonin is a hormone. And what melatonin, it works opposite of cortisol. And most people are probably familiar with cortisol. It's the stress hormone. Everybody assumes that it's bad. It's not a bad thing. It's just we need it to be in balance. When you have cortisol elevated for a long period of time, as most people do when they're under extreme stress, it can become a bad thing. It's associated with the inflammatory cascade and different things that are going to be detrimental to your health. Melatonin and cortisol are the exact opposite of each other. So in the evening, we have melatonin come up, we have cortisol go down. That's supposed to put you to sleep. As we get toward the morning, that cortisol level comes up and the melatonin goes down. And that's our normal daily rhythm, is back and forth. Just sits there and oscillates. The cortisol helps you wake up, the melatonin helps you go to sleep. Now, anytime we mess with the hormone, and I guess the classic example of this would be anabolic steroids. When you see people mess with anabolic steroids, it throws off the amount that their body naturally makes, right? The stereotype of anabolic steroids is men's testicles shrink because they don't need to make as much testosterone endogenously. Their body doesn't have to make as much because they're taking it in as a supplement. So their body decreases the amount that they're making. And I suspect that this is actually what's occurring with melatonin as well, is as we start to take in more melatonin, it can either decrease the amount of melatonin that we are making, or our body's going to compensate and make more cortisol. So sooner or later, you're going to have an increase in that cortisol level in comparison to that melatonin level. Your body is going to find a way to do what it needs to do, and if it sees the need for that inflammatory cascade to be up, it's going to bring everything back into balance, right? So that is the concern. I have not seen research that confirms that, but melatonin is a hormone. It's something that we need to be a little more careful about, and that is the reason I don't recommend this for most of my patients. Again, some people it may be the right fit. I'm not saying that it's something you shouldn't do, but we want to make sure that it's not going to be something that's going to cause you long-term harm, right? Next problem is there's just a recent study, like a very, very recent study here in the last month that came out that I saw, and what this study showed is concern on the amount of melatonin that is actually in the supplement. And supplement industry is just stereotypically not as trustworthy, right? let's put it that way. We'll call it what it is. There's no regulation over supplement companies, and I use a lot of supplements. I use reputable labs for a lot of this stuff, but there's still no oversight in them. And with that, there have been multiple independent studies that have pulled all the supplements off shelves. There was one about 3-4 years ago that pulled all the supplements off of 4 different retailers, and it showed that none of the supplements had the amount of stuff that they said they did, and some of them were just sand. So, I mean, there's some shadiness that goes on here. And the same was shown on melatonin in this stuff, and it showed that some of them didn't have the amount that it said, both negative and positive. And if you're taking something that has more than what is listed on the label, that's kind of concerning, right? Especially with a hormone. Vitamin D would be another example. If you've got more vitamin D than what is listed on the label, you can go toxic in vitamin D, and that can cause some problems in your health. It's good to know how much you're taking in, because that can throw off other systems if you end up having to go to the hospital or whatever. God forbid that anything like that would happen. But if something like that does happen and you have to go to the hospital and they need to put you on any kind of medication, then that's going to possibly lead to other outcomes. So it's something that I definitely recommend caution with. So on melatonin, there are good things. It can be good as a natural sleep aid. It can be something that helps to restore your natural blood sugar balance. It can be something that helps with those with neurodevelopmental disorders get the sleep that they need. And sleep is something that's very, very important in those populations because they stereotypically struggle with it. In most cases, it's metabolically linked. So we have a little bit of difficulty with that to start with. And like I said, it can be a good thing, not just for the person that's diagnosed with it, but also for parents. Just getting those kids to sleep is a huge stressor on parents, and that can put a little bit of stress on a family. So that sleep and that sleep routine and everything like that becomes even more important. And there are times when something like this is not only advisable, but something that really would make a huge difference in families like this. But we do have to be careful with it because it's not all good. It's not all rosy, and not all supplements you can just take and there's no side effects. You do have to worry about the side effects and the long-term consequences of potentially taking these things. So if you are considering it and you have questions, by all means, get a hold of me. I would love to have a more in-depth conversation on this. But again, it's not something I have used personally, but I was sitting there awake in the middle of the night the other night, and this is something that really hit me. It's something I think a lot at night, because there are a lot of nights that I'm up and not sleeping real well. But the other night I was up all night, and this is something that just crossed my mind on all the people that struggle with this on a regular basis. And it's something I've worked very, very hard on my own health. It's something that I protect very closely on my own health. My sleep is very, very important to me. And once you go without it, you realize how important it is. So if you are struggling, it's important that you get this figured out. I'm here to help you. If this video is helpful, please like, please subscribe. It gives me good information as far as what information is going to be beneficial for you. The more I know that, the more types of information that I can share that are going to be beneficial for you. So again, like, share, comment, whatever you need. But I will catch you on the next video. I appreciate you tuning in, and we'll have you, I guess, just have a great day.